In a correspondence addressed to the Douala Port Authority, the Minister of Finance, Louis Mutaze, on February 13, 2026, called on the Director General of the Port Authority to immediately restore Société Générale de Surveillance (SGS) to its scanning operations at the port of Douala Bonaberi. The Minister's directives follows earlier instructions issued on January 30, 2026 by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Gute, who ordered the continuation of the scanning inspection contract binding the state and SGS, a contract scheduled to run until 2030. The situation, however, became complex after the Secretary General at the Presidency authorized Transatlantic DSA to carry out scanning operations on the port platform. This decision was announced following a meeting on January 22, 2026, which introduced a temporary agreement allowing the Directorate General of Customs to use images produced by Transatlantic DSA for the release of containers scanned solely by the company, pending further government directives. Despite this, a tension persisted between Customs and the Port Authority, with the latter accusing Customs of disrupting the smooth functioning of services provided by Transatlantic DSA. In a recent correspondence, the Ministry of Finance emphasizes that all transitional measures had been respected by the competent authorities. However, it should be noted that the Director General of the Douala Port Authority continued to maintain Transatlantic DSA operations despite the Prime Minister's clear directives for SGS to resume its contractual mandate. The Minister firmly called on the Port Authority to comply with the Minister's decision and facilitate the immediate resumption of SGS activities at the port. The move is widely seen as an effort to prevent institutional conflict, safeguard public revenue, and ensure the smooth flow of foreign trade operations.
Such messages are frequent from customers claiming to have recently recharged mobile credit. This situation affecting users of the two main mobile operators is causing outage. I multiplied my credit, but when I call, they will tell me the credit is insufficient to call. There are promotions, and when you activate, for example, 1,000 francs to get 10,000 francs, and you make 1 or 2 phone calls, they will tell you there is no more credit left. The issue sometimes leads to contacting customer service, often without finding a solution. It's true, it is very demoralizing, but nobody likes to lose. You put in your money and you don't get any returns. We don't have a choice. We keep subscribing. There's nothing we can do about it. It should be noted, however, that in some cases the credit is refunded, but generally consumers are indignant about the unexplained debit on their accounts.
On Cameroun bustling streets, motorbike riders, commonly known as Okadas, obeying Sikin zoom past. But at what cost? Rising accidents across the country are putting transport operators, passengers and pedestrians in danger. These commercial motorbike activities has become an important source of employment for thousands of people. However, many riders have adopted behaviors that make the activity highly accident-prone. These riders often face a high risk of accident, and many citizens are no longer willing to take chances.
I condemn the idea. Those bike riders, they don't even develop, they don't bring economic. They are instead helping you kill, they are killing people every day, and then thieves use fasted meal on bike to steal people. So for me, I condemn bike. They don't have economic. They are instead killing economic. So for me, I condemn it. I don't like to see them.
While some citizens vehemently refuse to board motorbikes, others take precautions by staying alert, wearing helmets, and considering factors such as riders' age and driving behavior.
When I go to a strange place, I don't know who knows how to ride. I first of all look at the physical look. If you are kind of presentable and you are neat, you have a helmet, I just first of all feel safe. Though I don't count on you because I don't know if you are actually a professional.
People that are too small because they can easily fall. So like someone is huge.
Some citizens, however, remain careless about these precautions, placing their faith in God for their safety.
I don't really check about that because I know that even if you want to have an accident, you still have it. Because it's only God that protects us. Because if you enter a taxi, you still have the accident. If it is your day that you die, you still die. So to me, I don't really take precaution about that.
Ultimately, the road to safer biking in Cameroon requires combination of vigilance, responsible riding, and practical wisdom.
When we discovered Isaac Iran.
When the video started making rounds on social media, it looked like the kind of thing that could spiral out of control. A group of men inside the Bangolan Palace performing rituals, declaring the fund dethroned and presenting their own man as the new village head. Within 24 hours, the senior divisional officer from Ngoki Tunja Division hit back with a statement that didn't just respond to the video, it tore it apart piece by piece. The men in the footage are never given the dignity of being called traditionalists or even rival claimants. From the opening line, they are a dissident faction. By the middle of the release, they are a gang by the end. They are miscreants. The message is clear. Don't let the traditional attire fool you. What gives the statement its weight is the history the senior divisional officer brings to the table. He doesn't treat this as a one-off incident. He takes readers back to 2016 when the same group allegedly turned the palace into a scene of violence and forced the phone to flee for his life. Then he pulls out a file from August 2025. His own correspondence banning their activities after a villager was killed for refusing to pay an illegal tax they were pushing. This is not rumor or hearsay. This is an administrator pulling out receipts and showing that he has been watching this group for years. The current crisis, he argues, is just more of the same. The fund himself is drawn in sharp contrast to the men in the video. He is a second-class chief, a senator, and someone who followed the proper path to the throne, designated by real kingmakers, presented to the public and recognized by the state. The senior divisional officer even throws in a line about how the fund would win if he held an election tomorrow. It is a direct challenge to anyone who might think the dissidents speak for the village. The implication is that the fund's support runs deep and no viral video changes that. Perhaps the smartest move in the whole release is the warning aimed at community. The SDO makes it clear that anyone caught working with the group does so at their own risk. Prosecution awaits. It is a more designed to isolate the faction to make sure they cannot find shelter or support among the people, and by declaring everything they did null and void, the administration wipes the slate clean. The rituals mean nothing. The installation means nothing. The video, for all its views, changes nothing. In a region that has seen its share of instability, the message from the senior divisional officer is simple. The state is still here and it is not backing down.
So today, Bangolan, they don't take.
Residents of northern Nigeria are preparing for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, even as memories linger of the recent Christmas Day airstrikes carried out by the United States against Islamist militants in the region. The strikes, which targeted armed groups operating in parts of northern Nigeria, sent shock waves through nearby communities. In one state located just about 75 kilometers from the bombardment site, tension remains palpable, but so does resilience. Despite the sweltering heat, hundreds of worshippers, including children, gathered in large numbers for prayers ahead of Ramadan. While in Ethiopia, leaders of African Union meeting at a two-day summit in Addis Ababa have adopted a resolution describing slavery, deportation and colonialism as genocide and crimes against the people of Africa. Chairman Mahmoud Ali Yusuf said the conference recognizes colonization as a crime against humanity and expressed solidarity with Palestine, calling for an end to what he described as the extermination of the Palestinian people. Member states also agreed to designate November 30th as the African Day of Tribute to African martyrs and victims of the transatlantic slave trade, colonization and apartheid, and pledged to seek international recognition
provision of the resolution. Zambia has closed its borders to livestock and related products from South Africa following a worsening outbreak of foot and mouth diseases. The move comes after South African authorities declared a national disaster as the highly contagious disaster spreads across affected areas. In a statement, the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock announced the immediate suspension of all livestock import permits from South Africa, revoking those previously issued. The ban covers not only live animals but also livestock feed, trophies, skins, hides, and cloven-hoofed animals products, including dairy, unless strict mitigation measures are in place. Zambia has also halted the transit of live animals from South Africa through its territory, describing the decision as an urgent biosecurity measure aimed at protecting the country's livestock sector. Authorities say the restrictions will remain in force until the situation is brought under control.
Her voice may have fallen silent, and her smile and graceful dance steps may have faded, but her melodious rhythms continue to live on. Marianne Akono Ngomo Ngongomo passed on to glory on February 12, 2026, after a period of illness, according to family sources. Her husband recounts her final moments.
My wife was really ill. She was not feeling too well, and we started treatment at the Central Hospital in Yaoundé, followed by a medical checkup by doctors. Everything was going on well, but the decisive turn was at about 1 a.m. on February 12 when she asked for warm water to drink. She drank, slept, and passed away.
Après avoir bu, elle s'est couchée et c'est parti.
She was a respectful figure in gospel music within the Église Presbyterienne Camerounaise in general, and particularly within the Messatu parish congregation, where she worshipped until her death. At her residence on February 16, 2026, the atmosphere was somber as relatives, friends, and church members gathered to pay her tribute. Members of the Christian Women's Association expressed deep sorrow over her passing.
C'est son mari qui m'appelle à 2 heures du matin pour m'annoncer son décès.
Her husband called me at 2 a.m. that day to inform me of her passing. To be honest, it was hard to accept, but when God decides, no one can say otherwise. She was an icon.
Ma fille, tout simplement qu'elle était une icône.
Je l'aimais tellement. Moi-même, je me suis efforcée aussi à chanter comme elle, quoique je n'ai pas pu.
She sang so well. I loved her so much, and I wanted to sing like her. She was my friend. Mama Marianne was a good woman. She avoided problems, and we lived in harmony with her. Known as Mama Marianne, she touched many hearts through her dedication, faith, and numerous contributions to musical projects within the church community. She passes on at 49, leaving behind a husband, children, and a grieving church family.
With only a few days left before Lent, Christians in Cameroun are preparing for the 40-day period that precedes Easter in Christian calendar. Beginning on Ash Wednesday, Lent is a season of reflection, repentance, and spiritual preparedness ahead of the celebration of Easter.
À quelques heures du début du carême,
few hours to the start of the Lent period, We do introspection. We try to keep our energy and dedicate time to intense prayers to God, because without Him, we cannot do anything. We need His grace and support of His spirituality to renew and regenerate spiritually. All the dispositions that we would take during this Lent period does not only limit on that time, because after Lent we see changes as Christians. By observing the 40 days of Lent, Christians commemorate the sacrifice of Jesus Christ in His withdrawal into the desert for 40 days. Lent is marked by fasting from food, celebration and other pleasures, while emphasizing prayers, self-discipline and spiritual reflections. It is sharing that is needed. I should take an example. If in a day you drank 5 bottles of beer, those 5 bottles of beer don't say you will not drink. You drink in another way. The money of the 5 beer, you should share them to others. During this Lent period, you need to pray more and more than before. Try to avoid sin. So we sin by thoughts, by words, by emotions, and by actions, that the Spirit takes over our flesh during this time. According to Christian teaching, fasting for God can lead to various positive outcomes, including divine favor, humility, justice, wisdom, spiritual reward, self-control, and a deeper movement of the Holy Spirit.
The head of the gang of the suspected bandits, now in police custody, is suspected of a series of armed robberies and other criminal activities within the Yaoundé 2 municipality. According to the authorities, the suspects were apprehended following several complaints from residents about theft and violent incidents over the past weeks, dated on January 21st, 2026.
Presque pratiquement 4 mois.
For almost 4 months, we have recorded several complaints of armed robbery in Simbok, Etoua, and surrounding areas. The most recent was on January 21st. After collecting evidence at the crime scenes, we traced the first suspect, the chief of guard, on January 29 in Bonaberi, Douala, seizing an automatic pistol, 2 magazines, amongst others. Presented to the press on February 16, 2026, a victim recounted the incident. At the end, we encourage the population to go ahead in the same direction. These are the operations that we will always intensify in the beginning of the year, during the instruction of a hierarchy. But this is not possible. Thanks for the collaboration of the population, which we will always trust.